The story opens at Saika Academy, an elite institution designed to polish the skills of the world's most gifted students. Whether in the arts, sports, or academics, the school represents the absolute pinnacle of achievement. Aasi has just transferred to this prestigious school, but he immediately finds himself in a position of extreme vulnerability. Inside the karate club dojo, he is being physically overwhelmed. The club members look on with a mix of pity and scorn as Aasi is tossed around the mat. His opponent taunts him, asking how the son of the legendary Subaru Aasi could be so pathetically weak. As he takes blow after blow, Aasi reflects on his mother's incredible life. Subaru Aasi was a world-renowned A-list actress, a genius who performed her own stunts and graduated at the top of her class at a famous international university. Because of her brilliance, the world assumes that Aasi must also be a prodigy. The expectations are crushing. He has already failed the advanced class entrance tests, and now, as he tries to defend himself in the dojo, his punches are nothing more than light taps. The audience is disgusted, whispering that he is a total failure and a disappointment to his mother's name. Aasi is used to this script. At 17 years old, he has learned to accept his own mediocrity. He tells the vice captain of the karate club that those who obsess over talent are often the most mediocre themselves. He admits he is not a fighter and has never done combat sports, but his calm acceptance of defeat only irritates the athletes further. They want to beat greatness out of him, but Aasi simply thanks them for the match and prepares to leave. The tension is broken when a girl named Nico, the captain of the club, rushes in and kicks the vice captain for harassing an amateur. Ayasi's presence has drawn the attention of the school's most powerful figures, the three royals. These three girls rule over their respective programs with undisputed talent. There is Kazuki from the Performing Arts program, a star whose theater tickets sell out instantly. There is Miwa from the Advanced program, a genius who aced every entrance exam and holds titles in professional shogi. Finally, there is Nico, the undefeated martial arts champion. They represent the very best of Saika Academy. The girls are openly dismissive of Aasi. When they learn he failed his placement tests and intends to join the general education program, they label him a mediocre hack who has no place at their school. They tell him that incompetent people are unwelcome and order him to clean the dojo as a penalty for losing his match. Aasi doesn't argue. While the sisters leave, convinced they have wasted their time on a nobody, Aasi stays behind and meticulously cleans the facility. When the club members return later, they are stunned to find the dojo shining, the mats looking brand new through the sheer effort of Ayasi's hard work. As Aasi walks home, he thinks about his childhood and the distance that grew between him and his mother. He remembers being a little boy, rehearsing lines and hoping to impress her, only to see her performing and realizing the gap between her genius and his own ordinary nature was an endless abyss. He spent years feeling like a disappointment, moving away from her even though she was his only family. It wasn't until her final days in the hospital that they truly connected. He discovered that despite her fame, she spent her private time watching a low-profile family drama called Homemade Bride. She loved the scenes where the family simply sat together for dinner, chatting about nothing in particular. She confessed that she had always wanted a simple, happy family like the one on the screen. After she passed away, Aasi found a note in her journal expressing her wish for him to find a happy family of his own. Now, he is determined to honor that wish no matter what it takes. Aasi arrives at a massive mansion, the home of Mr. Micadono, a friend of his late mother who has agreed to take him in. The house is incredible, with high ceilings and an air of luxury, but the welcome is anything but peaceful. He is immediately attacked by a girl in a towel who mistakes him for a burglar. It is Nico, the martial arts royal. In the chaos, she slips on the floor, and Aasi reflexively tries to help her. He begins drying her hair with a towel, telling her that preventing a cold is a vital part of martial arts. The other two sisters, Kazuki and Miwa, arrive home and are shocked to find the failure from school in their living room. Aasi receives a phone call from Mr. Micadono, who explains that these three girls are his daughters. He asks Aasi to get along with them, but the girls are not interested. They view him as a mooch and an incompetent burden. Aasi tries to remain positive, but he quickly notices that despite their individual brilliance, the sisters are living in a total pigsty. The house is a mess of unwashed dishes, piles of laundry, and dusty floors. Aasi points out the smell and the clutter, much to the sisters' embarrassment. Kazuki claims she is too busy with rehearsals to do dishes, and Miwa admits she can't remember the complicated instructions for doing laundry. Aasi notices that Miwa has even written laundry notes on the back of her hand because she finds it more difficult than shogi rules. He realizes that these prodigies are so focused on their talents that they are completely incapable of managing a normal life. Aasi immediately gets to work, tidying the entire house while the sisters argue. By the time they stop talking, the mansion is sparkling. The girls are stunned, and Nico remembers how he transformed the dojo earlier that day. Despite his lack of academic or athletic talent, Aasi possesses a deep competence in domestic chores. The next morning, he witnesses their intense routines, Nico splitting tiles at dawn, Miwa arguing with a shogi AI, and Kazuki blending strange concoctions for her health. He tries to invite them to breakfast, but they are all too driven by their schedules to sit down. He realizes they are just like his mother, self-centered and blinded by their own goals. He manages to catch Nico before she leaves, offering her a balanced meal he made from leftover ingredients. Nico tries to act tough, criticizing the nutritional balance of the food, but Aasi challenges her. He realizes that their drive to be the best makes them blind to their own needs. As the sisters prepare to head out for their various practices and matches, Aasi stops them at the door. They check their bags, thinking they have forgotten something important, but Aasi simply wishes them a nice day. It is a small, ordinary gesture, but it catches them off guard. As they walk their separate ways, all three sisters find themselves blushing, secretly touched by the simple kindness of his farewell. The morning ends with a call from Mr. Micadono. He explains to Aasi that he is rarely home and that his daughters will eventually face obstacles they cannot overcome alone, a fate common to all prodigies. He asks Aasi to be their helping hand, believing that if Aasi supports them through their struggles, the sisters will eventually open their hearts to him. Aasi stands alone in the massive house, wondering how a mediocre guy like him is supposed to help three world-class geniuses, but he is determined to try for the sake of the family his mother wanted him to have. On the other end of the line, Mr. Micadono lists the monumental challenges facing each girl. Kazuki is preparing for a grueling audition, Nico is training to defend her title as a national karate champion, and Miwa is facing a high-stakes shogi match. Once the call ends, Aasi finds himself lost in thought while scrubbing floors and tidying rooms. He wonders how someone as average as himself can possibly assist three girls who are at the absolute peak of their fields. He remembers the cold whispers of his past, where strangers expressed their disappointment that the son of a legendary actress had inherited none of her brilliance. He knows the pain of being a failure all too well, and he begins to worry about what might happen if these gifted sisters experience that same crushing disappointment. He decides that the first step to helping them is simply getting them to sit down for a meal together. When Nico returns from practice, she is visibly startled to find Aasi in the house, having already forgotten that their living arrangement is permanent. Aasi offers her a taste of what he is cooking, but she immediately puts up a wall. She tells him that she won't be tamed by food and insists on eating the store-bought items she brought for herself, calling his cooking slop. Undeterred, Aasi doubles down. While Nico is in the bath, he spreads out multiple cookbooks, obsessing over precise temperatures and vacuum packing techniques. He focuses on a complex broth, timing the simmer of skipjack tuna to the exact second to avoid any unpleasant smells. Nico watches him from a distance, irritated by his intensity. She recalls her childhood, where she and her sisters rejected the food of world-class chefs because they wanted to control what went into their own bodies. She retreats to her room to eat her supplements and low-fat snacks, but the enticing aroma from the kitchen eventually draws her back down the stairs for a peek. Aasi catches her and presents a perfectly balanced athlete's meal. He lists the exact grams of protein and milligrams of vitamins he included, explaining that he customized a dietitian's recipe specifically for her training needs. Though she tries to remain distant, she eventually takes a bite and admits it isn't bad. Miwa soon follows, drawn by the smell, and Aasi presents her with a meal rich in DHA to fuel her brain. The two sisters end up bickering at the table like normal siblings, teasing each other about their weight and habits. The peace is interrupted when Kazuki arrives. She looks at the domestic scene with a cold, distant gaze. Aasi tries to win her over with a risotto designed to improve skin health and a salmon marinade full of antioxidants, but she rejects it flatly. She tells him that while the scene looks like a heartwarming family dinner, she wants no part of it, especially if the food is made by a nobody. She retreats to her room, leaving a stung silence behind. Nico, feeling bad for the effort Aasi put in, offers to eat the extra portion, though Aasi warns her that the extra carbs will push her over her limit for the day. Over the next few days, Aasi tries to make a move at school to bridge the gap between himself and the sisters. He finds Kazuki surrounded by a sea of adoring fans in the hallway. When he calls out to her, the other students immediately recognize him as the no-talent son of Subaru Aasi. Kazuki tells him to stay away, claiming his mediocrity will cast a shadow over her radiance. Aasi, trying to mention his cooking, tells her he stayed up all night hoping she would give in to his advances, and that he has something special only he can give her. The fans are horrified, assuming they are in a scandalous relationship, and Kazuki gets embarrassed, promising that he will pay for the misunderstanding when they get home. Aasi moves on to Nico, who is busy training with the karate team. When he uses her first name familiarly, her teammates are outraged that a failure would act so buddy-buddy with their captain. However, when Nico turns a terrifying, monstrous gaze toward him, Aasi decides that he is not yet ready to face her in a public setting and beats a hasty retreat. His last hope is Miwa. He finds her in her classroom, where she is helping classmates with difficult math problems in a dry, robotic tone. When the other girls leave, they whisper about how Miwa is in a completely different league, making it impossible to truly befriend her. Aasi tries to ask her to lunch, but she treats him with the same coldness she shows everyone else. He doesn't give up, chasing her through the hallways until they both collapse on a bench from exhaustion. In this moment of weakness, Miwa opens up. She confesses that she doesn't know how to talk to normal girls and finds their conversations pointless. Aasi tells her he can sympathize because he is also a royal in his own way, royally short, royally stupid, and royally weak. He admits his looks are false advertising for a talent he doesn't have. His self-deprecating honesty makes Miwa smile. She gives him a lead on how to win over Kazuki, remembering that their eldest sister once secretly asked their mother for a meal made just for her when she was a toddler. Back at home, Aasi tries to figure out what kind of meal Kazuki's mother might have made. His thoughts are interrupted when Kazuki arrives home and collapses on the floor. She is burning with a fever, though she tries to act tough and insists she is just fatigued. Miwa and Nico try to help, but Kazuki kicks everyone out of her room, lamenting her own perceived weakness. Aasi doesn't stay away for long. He brings her porridge and carrot soup, but she refuses to eat, insisting her supplements are enough. When she tries to stand, she falls again, and Aasi is there to catch her, though his lack of strength causes them both to tumble to the ground. Desperate to help her stay on track for her rehearsal, Aasi offers to be her acting partner. He tells her he debuted as an actor when he was 2 years old, and surely he can help. Kazuki is skeptical, but agrees to try. The result is a disaster. Ayasi's acting is wooden and robotic, sounding like he is reading a grocery list rather than a script. Kazuki kicks him out, realizing he was only cast as a child because of his mother's influence. She concludes that he is the type who coasted on someone else's fame and has never known the meaning of real effort. However, Aasi doesn't quit. For the next several days, he stays up late every night, practicing the lines until he is exhausted. Kazuki watches him, realizing that despite his chores and schoolwork, he is putting in massive amounts of effort for a craft he is clearly bad at. On the final day of her recovery, Aasi delivers a line with a genuine flicker of emotion. He is so overwhelmed by his small success after 14 years of failure that he bursts into tears. Kazuki is moved by his dedication and finally agrees to eat his cooking. But there is a catch. The perfect and radiant Kazuki becomes incredibly embarrassed as she lists her conditions. She demands that her food contain no carrots, no bell peppers, no mushrooms, no eggplant, and no bitter squash. Aasi stares at her in disbelief, realizing that the top student of the performing arts program is actually just a very picky eater who behaves like a small child when it comes to vegetables. The fragile peace in the Micadono household begins to take a more concrete shape as the dining table finally serves its intended purpose. The sisters are visibly stunned to see the once defiant Kazuki actually sitting down and eating real food with them. Nico and Miwa watch in disbelief, joking that the end of the world must be near if their eldest sister is finally compromising. Aasi feels a quiet sense of victory as Kazuki finishes her soup, though she remains stubborn, insisting it was only acceptable because there were no carrots. Instead of letting her remain in the dark, he reveals the truth, informing her that he actually grated those very carrots into the broth she just enjoyed. He realizes that while getting these three to eat his cooking is a massive hurdle, their picky and intense personalities make them a constant handful. Just as a rhythm seems to be forming, the sisters announce that they will not be home for dinner for the foreseeable future. Nico has a major tournament approaching and needs to practice late into the night. Miwa is focused on her shogi matches, and Kazuki will be eating on set during her grueling rehearsals. As Aasi watches them leave, he offers a quiet goodbye. He finds himself alone in the large mansion, a feeling he knows all too well. He remembers the month-long stretches when his mother wouldn't come home due to her acting career. He reflects on how that distance eventually broke their bond. He sees the same spark of genius in the Micadono sisters that he saw in his mother, and it makes him feel like even more of a good-for-nothing nobody. Seeking comfort, Aasi turns to his mother's favorite television series, Homemade Bride. He watches the simple, everyday scenes of a family smiling and talking together. He finds himself particularly moved by a wedding scene where the husband asks his wife to become a happy family with him. Seeing his mother in a wedding dress on the screen leaves him feeling conflicted and lonely. He whispers to his mother's memory that real life is much harder than a television drama, doubting if he can ever achieve the happiness she wished for him. When the girls finally return home, they are exhausted. Miwa looks completely drained, leading to some light teasing from her sisters about her lack of physical fitness. They find Aasi crying in front of the TV and realize he has watched the entire series. Kazuki assumes he is overwhelmed by the loss of his mother and tells him he doesn't need to work so hard at chores and cooking just to win them over. Nico and Miwa agree, suggesting he should just accept his role as a freeloader. This sparks something in Aasi. He stands up and declares that he isn't a freeloader in his own mind. He explains that he spent his life running away from his mother because her talent made him feel like a different species, and he doesn't want to repeat that mistake. He tells them he truly wants to bond and create a happy family with them. However, as he speaks, the wedding scene from the show continues to play loudly in the background. The groom on screen repeats a proposal about becoming a happy family, and the sisters' imaginations run wild. They see themselves in wedding dresses, incorrectly assuming Aasi is making some sort of romantic advance. They become completely speechless and flustered, retreating into their own defensive thoughts to avoid the sudden tension. The romantic tension is quickly deflated by Ayasi's actual goal. He knows that Kazuki is the eldest and Miwa is the youngest, but since he and Nico are both in their second year of high school, the hierarchy between the two of them is still a mystery. He turns to Nico and asks for her specific date of birth, explaining that he needs to know if he should treat her as an older or younger sister. He mentions he was born in December, but the girls are too embarrassed by their previous fantasies to give him a straight answer. They shout at him, calling him a freeloader once again, and flee to their rooms. The domestic chaos continues later that night. Nico, still reeling from the proposal misunderstanding, retreats to a hot bath but hears Aasi screaming in the kitchen. She rushes out in nothing but a towel, only to find Aasi crying because he forgot to buy bread for tomorrow's sandwiches. She scolds him for being so dramatic over a small mistake, but Aasi is more concerned that she will catch a cold. When Miwa sees Nico's red face, she suspects her sister is blushing because of Aasi, leading to a heated argument between the two about who is actually crushing on their new housemate. The tension only grows when Miwa accidentally touches Ayasi's hand while taking the laundry he folded for her. She becomes as red as a tomato and drops the clothes, demanding he fold them again. Kazuki enters the room and tries to act like the mature older sister. But when Aasi asks her for help reaching a high shelf and gives her a sincere, glowing thank you, even the stoic actress turns bright red. The sisters find themselves in a three-way standoff, all blushing and denying their feelings, while Aasi stands by, confused as to why they can't just get along. Amidst the mess of the sisters' bickering, Aasi finds an old photo on the floor. It shows the three Micadono sisters as small children at a night festival, smiling and looking like little angels. He asks each of them who the photo belongs to, but they all deny it. Kazuki claims it is just a family photo that doesn't belong to anyone in particular. Aasi senses that one of them is lying, that someone treasures this memory of a time when they were closer. He realizes that being a family means more than just eating together. It means understanding what the others truly want. He learns that the sisters are all traveling to the same general region over the weekend for their respective events. Instead of letting them go their separate ways, Aasi takes action. He prepares hot milk to help them sleep, and reveals that he has already booked their hotel rooms. He hands them maps and details. But when they arrive at the hotel, the sisters are shocked to find they have all been booked into the same room. Ayase appears at the hotel, acting as their festival conductor. He tells them that since they are all in the area, they should attend the nearby Cherry Blossom Night Festival, the same one from the childhood photo. The sisters initially resist, claiming they need to focus on their matches and rehearsals. Aasi counters their arguments by mentioning a shrine at the festival dedicated to competitors' luck, suggesting that even world-class prodigies need a moment to breathe and find faith. He wins Miwa and Nico over with the promise of local seafood, and Kazuki eventually agrees, thinking it will be good for her social media presence. The final stop before the festival is a kimono rental shop. The sales associate is dazzled by the auras of the three royals. Kazuki chooses a mature, chic outfit with golden chrysanthemums that highlights her elegance. Miwa picks a playful, retro-modern pattern covered in cats. which Kazuki notes is perfect for someone as sneaky as her. The focus then turns to Nico, who is reluctant to even try on a kimono. She feels she would look weird in one and prefers tomboy clothes she can move in easily. However, Aasi chooses for her a pink, flowery kimono that is soft and feminine. He insists that it would fit someone as cute as her. Despite her hesitation, Nico goes to change. When she finally steps out, with her hair styled and wearing the delicate pink fabric, the entire room falls into a stunned silence. She looks at them nervously, asking if she looks weird, while the others struggle to find the words for how much she has transformed.